per Pete Thamel of ESPN. The College Football Playoff will remain a 12-team field in 2026.
Well, today was the date. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be December 1st. They pushed it back to today, January 23rd. And if you don't have a resolution on it, it remains at 12. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, there was not a decision to go to 12. Yeah. There's no decision there. There was a decision that they couldn't reach to expand it to 16, or as the Big Ten kept pushing for 24. And so it'll stay at 12, which is fine. I mean, would I prefer 16? Sure, but 12 is fine. And they'll have until December 1st of this year to see if they can change it between now and then. Again, the Big Ten and the SEC do have the power in this, so it's a Tony Petitti idea versus a Greg Sankey idea. Greg Sankey is fine with going to 16. Petitti would go to 16, but he wanted assurances to go to 24. And I would really have to ask Tony the next time I see him, which may be in Chicago, for the Big Ten tournament, why? What is the end game behind 24? What's the end game behind it? Is it because ESPN has a contract? Mm-hmm. Is it to then, when the next contract comes up, you expand this? Where now suddenly, let's just pick ESPN, TNT, Fox are all involved, just like every network on the planet does the NFL games. I mean, there were 4 NFL games this past weekend. They were on 4 different networks.
Yeah. A lot.
I mean, and the weekend before, they were on 5 different networks because Prime Video had a game.
Mm-hmm. I would like to add in here that I think this is a good thing to keep it at 12 for this coming season.
I agree.
In part because the first 2 years we've now had 12 have both been different. The first year, of course, was where the 4 top conference winners got the bye. So, of course, we had, Boise State was one of the teams that got a bye. And then this year it changed to the 4 best teams. So you had Ohio State, who wasn't a conference champion, make it in alongside Indiana, the Big Ten champion.
But essentially, the same thing happened. The only team that has had a bye in the last 2 years to win a game happened to be Indiana when they blew out Alabama. Again, the other 3 suffer the same fate as the 4 the previous year. They all lost. The teams with the byes are 1-7 in 2 years,
which I feel like has kind of it's been part of the discussion of like, oh well, that 24-25 season was an aberration because of these bad teams and so on and so forth. And Ohio State was the best team and whatever else. But now it clearly shows like, well, if you're the top 4 team, only one of the 8 has won now. Like only one of you has won. Yeah. So now let's see if you can actually do it, because the only team that's done it is the champion, Indiana, who, by the way, Fernando Mendoza officially going to the NFL draft. Surprised? Not at all, but he announced it today. So
I mean, look, I'm fine with it staying at 12, because the one thing I would not want to see, and nobody's proposed this, I don't want to see a reduction either.
No.
So so 12 as a baseline works fine for me. The fact that you've got the 4 playoff games at home sites, I think is incredible. And again, home field didn't mean everything this year. Miami went to Texas A&M and they won that game. Very offensively challenged, I might add.
And Alabama went to Oklahoma.
Went to Oklahoma and won. So I mean, you had 2-2 this year. The other games were
Oregon, James Madison, Ole Miss, Tulane.
See, this is the issue that you've got to get to on this. I'm sorry, but you can't have 2 group of 6 teams in it. You can't. Right? Unless they're both undefeated and ranked in the top 10 and the whole thing, because they're both ranked in the 20 and 23. They're like out of it. You have all these teams in front of them that let's face it. I know people hate the words the eye test and things like that, but for goodness sakes, you can see things.
Yeah, but what I will say is part of the issue
and when
this
they played,
season,
neither one of them was competitive.
But the reason there was 2 Group of 5 teams in is because the ACC was so
Agreed.
terrible. And yeah, Miami made the playoff as a team that got in as in the last possible spot because the ACC was so terrible.
Well,
and that's me saying it as a ACC graduate.
Well, the American Conference, which is a group of 6, okay, but they have the right idea. Their tie-breaking system, the number 2 tiebreaker after head-to-head is who's ranked highest in the college football playoff poll. And somebody said, "Oh, now we're having," and it was legitimate. So now they're using rankings to determine. I said, no. I said, you got to remember, you're a group of 6 team. What team gives me the best shot of getting a spot? And it's going to be the highest ranked team that you have. And say they win the game, they're the highest ranked team. They've already put themselves in a position. I said, for them, it's incredibly smart.
Yeah.
I think, for example, the ACC and the Big 12, the Big 10 and the SEC don't need to consider that.
No.
They don't. But the ACC and the Big 12 do need to consider that as a second tiebreaker. Who's ranked highest? Because you look at Duke this year, and all credit to Manny for everything they did, but their non-conference schedule, they were 1-3 this year. And the one win was against Elon.
Yeah. And you had the situation, of course, where it was 5 teams at 6-2. You had Virginia, who was 7-1. They were in the ACC championship game. They were set. It was just a question of which of the other 5 teams was going to be. Was it SMU? Was it number 10 Miami? Was it Pitt, Georgia Tech, or Duke? Of course.
And under the tie-breaking system, Miami would have been the team.
Yeah. Miami would have been the team, and then they would have gotten into it, and they presumably would have beaten Virginia, and then this wouldn't have been an issue. Then all of a sudden, you probably add in, I forget who the first Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame would have ended up being in this, would have been a whole different ball game, but that point of would have looked different.
I mean, it's up to the conferences to look at their own situation and come up with their tiebreakers.
I guess a question for you. With everything that has gone on in the ACC, with the Florida States and the Clemsons and the Miamis, is that something that the ACC may do almost to appease them and say, like, this is us trying to give you the benefit here of, like, if it happens in the future,
I think it's
like, this way Miami would have gotten in, it wouldn't have been an issue.
I think it's, for the ACC to do it, it's to make sure they've secured a spot. Because remember, the ACC did not have a spot. Miami got in as an at-large team.
Yeah.
They did not have the automatic bid because their champion was the number 6 team in the rankings when it was all said and done. It has to be the top 5. Well, that's why both Tulane and James Madison got in. They happened to be 2 of the top 5 highest ranked conference champions. Duke was 6th. Now, that doesn't mean that Duke doesn't go in and beats Miami. Let's just say Duke beats Miami. Maybe it does enough to actually vault them ahead of somebody. Like, they beat the 10th ranked team in the country. Beating Virginia didn't have. I mean, I know what was Virginia, 14 at the time, something
Virginia
like that.
was 16 at the
16
time.
at the
So they
time.
were outside.
Okay, so
they needed to win.
I know, as Virginia won, they would have been ahead of those guys. But beating a Miami would have given maybe a little more voter cachet and could have vaulted them ahead. But again, I think it's something they need to consider. The American Conference has already done it, but as a group of 6, that makes complete sense. I think every group of 6 conference should have that as their number 2 tiebreaker, to give themselves the best shot at doing it.
Yes.
I don't know if the Pac-12 can do it. There's only 2 of them.
You know what I miss?
Just kidding.
I miss the Pac-12 at night, Steve Jones. That's what I miss. And of course, the next date we'll find out if there's a 16 or a 2014 playoff.
December
if there is
1.
to be a big, is December 1. It's a yearly deadline per the CFP executive director, Rich Clark. So every year, ESPN needs to be informed by December 1st if it's changing, basically. is what the deal
look,
is.
Tony and Greg Sankey essentially had 8 months to kind of hammer this out, and they couldn't get to it because, again, Tony's the one that keeps coming up with all these ideas. And at one point, remember a year ago, the SEC appeared to be on board with the automatic qualifier idea. And then when they got to the SEC coaches meetings in May, suddenly, no, we want to go 5 plus 11. Okay. Right. And so Greg Sankey, and part of his job is to push forward with what they want. They stuck with that. And Tony changed his automatic qualifiers to saying, I want to eventually get to 24. Okay. And that's a big mountain to climb because he wanted it 3 years down the road. And they're going to have to sit down and take a long, hard look at this. To me, I would cap it at 16. That's just me. I think that going beyond that, are there really teams beyond 16? I mean, it could be. I mean, it's not like it can't happen.
But 16 feels like the number where it's kind of like, it's the magic number, where you look at, of course, we've discussed the NCAA tournament at 64/68. That's kind of the right window where you're getting all the conference champions and you're getting the best of the bunch that weren't champions, and you kind of get to that tier at the teams that get into the 11 seed spot, which that's the tipping point of like, you're a good team, but maybe you're not the best team, but you can give someone a run for their money. And you have a chance to make a run.
Yeah, like LSU was an 11 seed, made the Final Four.
Exactly. Like, it's kind of the cutoff spot. But 16 feels like the cutoff spot because at that point, 16, you're adding in...
16 is 12%.
Like, let's say...
16 is 12%. So just so everybody knows, that's what it is. Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.